Hi, Renee. How are you?
So good.
So, you guys, I'm here with Renee Loux, who is the author of Easy Green Living, among other tomes that help us understand how to live greener, not just in terms of food, which is your specialty, but also sort of lifestyle in general, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you were the host of, was it Fine Living? What was the show?
It was called It's Easy Being Green.
Is it easy being green? Is it?
It's gotten easier.
It has gotten easier. This is true.
Yeah, but it was all about all the different eco-friendly or sustainable practices in businesses and entertainment and publishing and trying to highlight who's doing what and how you can get into it.
Yeah, kind of like, I feel like we're all still on that path, right? Like trying to tell people how to solve some, things in their lives in an easier and kind of more sustainable way, right? That's kind of the mantra, I think. Yeah.
Well, I do, and I think it's gotten easier and more challenging in a way. The whole kind of concept, I think, of green, in a lot of ways, is become so ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And is such a sort of overused word that it becomes, I think, for the average person to ask, well, how is that qualified? And in what
Right.
way is it green? Because I say it's green. So I think in that way, there's also a lot more information now as far as, what qualifies something to be green or sustainable, or,
Yeah.
what are the aspects about that, whether it's food or beauty products or cleaning products or.
And at the end of the day, I think people are looking to people like you to kind of help them navigate that landscape. So just for you guys, because Renee and I just had lunch and we spent like an hour having this really intense and lovely conversation. But to recap, like, how did you get into all of this? What was your kind of start in terms of, I know it had to do with food, but, tell me how it all started.
It certainly came from food and something from a really young age. I was interested in, grew up around great food and kind of the culture of food. And then, as a young teenager, became a vegetarian and then a vegan not too long after, and realized two things immediately. Really, I'd have to study nutrition, and also I wanted to learn how to cook because there wasn't a lot of options. And
this was when? When was like
well, I don't know. Do I have to date myself? I can say that I moved to Hawaii and to Maui in 1995,
Okay. which
was my first real volley professionally to become a chef. And I worked there, and I opened up a raw food restaurant in 1996.
So 95, come on, you guys,
Early.
like that raw food.
myself.
Now you can get raw food. You can even get raw food in the regular supermarket,
Right.
not just, obviously you can get raw food everywhere. That's called salad. But, like you can get, raw juices and things like that in pretty much anywhere. At that time, raw food, vegan, macrobiotic, all this stuff was really foreign to people,
Well, and new and on the fringes, and now I think in major cities, if you go into a restaurant and ask for something without dairy, they say, okay, of course.
Right.
Versus they would look at you sort of cross-eyed
Right.
not too long ago. And I think that's the exciting thing, is that this is evolving and changing. And I've long believed that it's not an all or nothing game, whether it's
Me too.
your food or the way you're living, the kind of car you're driving. It's not one thing that is driving our health or wellness or sustainability. It's the sum of its parts, and some things we offset.
Yeah.
Some of our habits or choices.
Yeah.
Or so forth like that.
Definitely.
So I find, to me, I guess food has been to me something that's called to me
You hear that dog?
it's all part of the ecosystem.
He's calling to you.
Yes. As one thing that all humans
Yeah.
share, and it's a universal thing, and it is something that we do multiple times a day. And
Yeah.
Where there's not many opportunities in life that you get to on a daily basis make choices
Make
about
that
that have a
choice.
profound influence personally, and selfishly in that way, as well as planetarily, ecologically, and choices for our kids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came from, and then I got into by virtue of that, into the world of green and sustainability. Wrote some books on that. I had a TV show for a while, consultant. I built a natural skincare company. It all sort of kept segueing, because I really do. I think for anybody who gets into this, you find that it is connected.
Yeah.
You start thinking about your food, then you start thinking about maybe what kind of deodorant you're wearing, maybe
Right.
what you're washing your dishes with,
And your lipstick. Yeah.
Right.
And now
All
you're a
these
mom.
things. I am.
So now the
Yeah.
picture gets even bigger. Now you
Juicier.
have so many more choices to make.
Yeah.
How does that challenge any of kind of your previous thoughts about living sustainably? Like how did that challenge you?
Well, it's made me a lot more efficient.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a lot of extra time. But I mean that seriously in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, I think it's further clarified, what are these major considerations that need to be the lenses to look through. And I think the things that we have the most say over and the things we do most repetitively.
Yeah.
These are where the major changes happen. So to me, it's through the lens of food. And it's through the lens of air quality, indoor air quality, which has to do with what you're cleaning your house with, the kind of furnishings and materials, and I think also then what you put on your body or your child's body. So this goes for adults or kids, but especially kids. And I think when you see a small child and their developing system, how important it is to steward their choices in the cleanest way possible.
Yeah.
We're all
steward
exposed.
their choices. I really like that, and live by example. We were talking about, my challenges as a mother of teenagers, and not them. They're no longer under my control, right? But when they're so small, you really can make those choices for them. You can make those healthy choices for them as much as possible, and it's really you're setting them out to do well in life. I think it's really good.
I think so as well, and my child's only 2, so I'm still the master of the domain.
You're the master of the universe.
But I do see that, and I do see clearly in a lot of ways this generation that's coming up is facing more challenges than we did in some ways. In some ways, children being born in this day and age are being born with a higher toxic load than we ever were.
Yeah.
On the other side, there's a lot more regulations. There isn't lead in paint. Things have gotten better and they've gotten more challenging.
And a lot more knowledge, right? There wasn't, we didn't have, Skin Deep, for
EWG.
Example. We didn't have, the cleaners database. My arm is falling off. You guys, you know this. You know my tripod arm conversation. I'm always like, okay, we're going to pause while I switch hands. But yeah, there's so much more available to us online, especially, and in books like yours. Speaking of, so if you head over to Mommy Greenest, I'm going to give away five copies of Renee's beautiful Easy Green Living book. Ooh, so go over there and enter, and you can win one of this. The guidance is all there from you, right? So
tricks and tools and empowering, from cookware to beauty products to how to
everything you need. So what's next for you? What's your next experiment, or what's your next adventure?
Well, as the mother of a small child, I kind of take one day at a time.
Yeah.
But I do have my eyes on some media projects, and the culinary world is certainly one of the domains I work in. So
I heard it here first.
I teach culinary arts, and I work with some universities and schools on that level, really developing programming and qualified training for chefs around this kind of food, this progressive food that's gluten-free and vegan, and all of these things that there's a demand for, but there still is a bit of a chasm of conventional kind of study in culinary arts and what the market's demanding.
In terms of training, right? So you can go to culinary arts school and come out and really have no knowledge of raw, and that's such a trend now, right? Or just
even
cleaner,
gluten-free, or a lot of these ways of eating, and I see a lot of this stuff is trends and cycles. So it's in a lot of ways, I believe, if you can understand the formative how to do something, then you have a lot more can say about use this, not use that. You can kind of be your own cook.
Yeah, you should know everything.
But understanding that stuff too, and not just blindly. I think there's just I see the demand of all this growing, regardless of whether what form exactly it takes.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so thank you so much for taking these 9 minutes and 33 seconds, which I know because my arm is about to fall off, with us. You guys definitely check out, it's reneeloux.com, right?
Yeah.
LOUX.com. Go to Mommy Greenest for the giveaway, and I will see you back here really soon. Thank you. Bye.